Okay, in my defense, I was one of these people who said Versusia was middling on release. I thought she was good, but I didn't think she was that good. And the big thing that changed my opinion, basically, was reframing my idea of what makes for good and bad defense in the video game, right? Because I was saying that, all of the strengths that I think Versusia has today, I would have always cited to you. But I also would have told you that she had some of the worst defense in the game. On launch is what I would have thought, right? Because I was like, well, her instant 6XL is pretty bad, things like this. But, like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, what? She's got... Not only does she have really good buttons to interrupt you, like, her 5L used to be, like, Clash Level 2, right? But she has, like, pretty good buttons, but also the reward that you get when you find those defensive wins matters all. Instant 6XL, like, immediately, like, doing this, right? If you just, like, hit dash and L, like, as soon as you can, right? The reason this matters is a lot of top tiers will pressure you from over here, right? Catalina does this better than actually, Catalina does this better than literally everyone in the video game, right? Catalina does this the best out of anyone in the video game, I think. Where Catalina will she'll, like, imagine Gran, let me actually bring Catalina out here instead of Gran, right? Catalina will do this thing, and a lot of top tiers do this thing, like, and even a lot of, like, strong characters do this thing, right? So, right, she will stand over here, and she has you in the corner, and, like, this is her pressure, right? So when I say instant 6XL, then why that matters is, like, some characters, like maybe this bitch over here, can, right? Like, from all the way over here, right? She can instantly 6XL and it reaches your ass, right? Catalina is like she's on fucking roller skates, so she's, like, different, right? But, like, Versusia, for example, if I put Catalina over there, you see what I mean? It goes half the distance. And they buffed this. This is better than it used to be. This was even worse when Versusia released. This is, her instant 6XL got buffed in this patch. And this is when you're on defense in what people call the Grand Blue Zone, right over here. Instant 6XL is nice because this is a much more passive version of offense. They're kind of just sitting there, watching you, waiting for you to do something. And then, they're gonna try and catch you out by, like, sticking out a far H or a far M or something like that, counter-hitting you and getting a full combo. And it's a very... the risk-reward of this situation is very much weighted in Catalina's favor in almost every matchup, right? Sorry if I ask a lot of basic questions. No, not at all. I like explaining it, and I think if you have that question, other people have that question too, right? So the reason that instant 6XL is good here, the reason that it matters how far your immediate 6XL goes, is that if someone is just kind of sitting here waiting, one of the very common options to get out of the situation is as the defender, the guy in the corner, you instant 6XL. Now, imagine that I had a 6XL that went as far as Catalina's, and I actually could hit Catalina from here, right? She's not going to get hit, she'll block it, probably, because, when they're not, like, actually sticking out buttons, they're kind of walking back and forth and blocking. But if I get her to block it, suddenly, instead of being on defense, right, I'm +2. Yeah, my back's still to the wall, but it's my turn now, right? So this is a really important thing for fighting strong characters, is having, like, a good instant 6XL. It's not the be-all end-all, right? So that's true. Versusia still does, and always did, and it was worse before, have essentially the worst instant 6XL in the game outside of Vasarag. And that matters. However, I think I tunnel visioned on this a little bit too much when I was first evaluating Versusia's defense, and I forgot about the fact that, well, yeah, sure, while that's true, one, she has some pretty big buttons that can help, poke back in these situations, and, like, stuff like her far H or her 5L especially, were, like, higher priority. Like, if they hit, it used to be, if this hit a light, even though it is a light, it would beat it, right? If this hits a heavy, still to this day, it beats it, right? So she has some decent buttons to defend herself out, in the absence of a good instant 6XL. And also, if, God forbid, especially back in the day, man, if she got nerfed, right? If Versusia just hit you with one of those 5Ls, you're going to Valhalla, brother. It's not, right? Like, this launches now. This didn't used to launch, man. You would, like, she would 5L you, you would take 7,000 damage, right? You would take 7,000 damage when Versusia used to do this. Which was just so far and beyond what anyone in the video game could do outside of Nier, Blade Level 5 Lucilius, or Install Vera, right? Now, you might notice, Nier pays very heavily for that privilege, especially these days. She didn't used to, and that's why she was the best character in the game by far, right? Nier pays very heavily for that privilege. Blade Level 5 Lucilius doesn't happen anymore. They, like, took that out of the game, basically. And Install Vera can't do that at round start, right? Like, Install Vera needs to get her win condition to do that. Versusia does that shit the guy goes, believe in victory, round 1, engage, and she can do that, right? So that I was neglecting that when Versusia first came out because I was so obsessed with this idea of like, well, but her instant 6XL is bad and some of her buttons are kind of slow, so her defense must be bad. Not really, man. Yes, she might have a harder time getting, like, if she's in the corner, right? She's gonna have a harder time getting out of the corner than like a character like Catalina might, right? But while she's going to have a harder time, it's still not like it's impossible because she has good buttons and things like that, right? But also, it's not just about how likely you are to get out of the corner. It's about how much reward you're going to get when you inevitably, or not inevitably, but you know, if you manage to, right? And it just so happens that the answer to that question in Versusia's case is she's going to get a lot of reward. This is nerfed, right? This is nerfed. This is not like that's high risk, high reward. It was like medium risk and insane reward. It's not high risk, high reward, right? It was like medium risk and like top 1 reward. So overall, while Versusia's defense still, it wasn't like stellar, right? I to this day, especially now, because her reward on it is lessened and like this button got nerfed and stuff like that. But while Versusia's defense, pressing in the corner isn't high risk. Well, as far as defense situations are concerned, right? Like the defense situation for Versusia, right, was medium risk compared to the cast. Pressing in the corner was riskier for most characters compared to her, right? Everyone has to press in the corner. There's no one in the game that gets out of the corner by down backing. It's not how the game's designed, right? So if everyone has to be taking those risks, comparatively to the cast, Versusia was in the middle of that range for how risky it is, right? Someone who's like, it's low risk for them might be like this bitch over here, right, Catalina? Like, if as low risk as pressing buttons in the corner gets, it's still always going to be risky. But as low risk as it gets, is like for someone like this lady, right? She can press buttons in generally with generally taking on the lowest amount of risk compared to like mostly anyone else in the video game, right? But Versusia, yeah, was in the middle of that spectrum. It wasn't like she was like, you know, Ladiva or Vasaraga or something, or like, you know, a character that, like, or like Eustace, a character that struggled very hard. And again, medium risk, but the reward was not only top 1. 2B also in that camp? Yeah, 2B is also definitely, especially if you're in the, you don't pressure, the 2B is actually, you're right, because it is 2B, because 2B is so good in the Grand Blue Zone, you don't pressure 2B in the Grand Blue Zone, right? Like, again, maybe Catalina can get away with it, but like no one pressures 2B over here. Everyone pressures 2B over here, because it's just stupid to stand over. 2B's just gonna beat you from here, right? Even if you're on offense, she's gonna beat you from here. So no one does that. People pressure her from here. Now 2B has a really hard time. People are in her face like this, right? But you're right. In this situation, 2B probably is the best on defense. Catalina maybe number 2 or something like that. But yeah, Versusia was in the middle of the pack. It wasn't horrible. And not only was her reward when she was right, not only was it high, it was top 1 by a mile. Right? Like, pre-nerf Catalina. Right? Pre-nerf Catalina would get something. Like, Catalina has since been nerfed, right? But I have to move up a little bit here. But pre-nerf Catalina, you know, she gets like a far end. She would get something like this, right? She would get something like this. Well, first off, actually, I was gonna lie. I can't even fully show it to you, because after this roller skate, she would get auto combo, right? Catalina would do this into, oh, how do you do the strike again? I always forget. Every time I forget, is it, you just let it rock, okay? If I held forward, that's my bad. So yeah, pre-nerf Catalina would do bonk, right? Her roller skate 6XL into that. Am I stupid? Is it not? I don't know, yeah. Oh, you slide after you hit them. Oh, okay. My bad. I do not play Catalina, and I always forget exactly what the structure of that combo is. I apologize. There you go. All right, and now, oh yeah, I have to be even a little bit closer. But you know, if we go mid-screen, just to get the wall bounce super easily, right? Oh no, it's, my God. Okay, I just want to show. I promise this matters. Okay, I want to show this because it's important. If I do this, it'll be even easier for me. So because I'm terrible. So that's not a Catalina problem. This is a streamer problem, right? She would get that, and then it's also like auto combo into DP at the end too, right? So pre-nerf Catalina would get like 5.5, 6,000 damage sometimes if she got that, right? That was so insane. They nerfed it, right? Catalina cannot do this anymore from back to the wall like she could before, right? That was so insane. She nerfed it. Versusia was 1,500 damage higher than that, right? Her reward off, if she guesses right on defense and she gets out of that situation, her reward was not only high, it was stratospheric. So once I really like stopped tunneling on how, you know, how it might be kind of risky for her to press buttons or how her instant 6XL is very bad, right? I realized, wait a second, this character doesn't have bad defense at all. In fact, this character, the character's defense probably is in kind of the top half of the entire video game, right? So, she also got the 5U again and have a safe jab after it too. Yeah, right? So it's like, okay, if the character has, is she still broken? It feels that way. If the character has really good offense and strong neutral and good reward and good buttons and good pressure and plus frames everywhere, and the only weakness I thought she has, aka bad defense, is not really a weakness. It's more like she's, you know, okay to pretty good actually at it. Yeah, that character's a top tier, right? Because the reason we started talking about this in the first place is because, you know, we were talking about, like, remember when people said this character was a mid-tier on release? And I was one of those people. But the reason for that, again, is I deluded myself into thinking that Versusia had bad defense. Right? And I had my reasons, and I still stand, like, my reasons are still valid. It's just that I was ignoring other things about her that also factored into how good her defense was. That overall factor into mean that, you know, it's actually not that bad at all. It's actually not that bad at all. And she has no other real weakness, right? Her dash is a weakness. She's definitely very strong, but her dash is definitely weak. That's true. Her dash, especially now, right? Her dash was kind of... Her dash was kind of weird before. Her dash was only previously, like before she got nerfed in this patch. I would say that her dash was a weakness insofar as it made her instant 6XL horrendous, right? But her dash was actually a strength in some ways, in that she was just the fastest character in the game once she got up to speed, right? And it made it so that Versusia could very easily convert off of, like, you know, her very H-Pillar used to be a full screen option, right? She would hit you with H-Pillar, and she would knock your ass down from full screen, and she was, like, fast enough to, like, straight up run in after you and get Oki, right? So any hit that she got, even from no matter what range, it was very easy for her to convert that into you know, it's my turn now, last patch. She can't do that anymore this patch, and the dash blocking on it got nerfed, so now her dash is certainly a weakness. Her dash was, good and bad before. I wouldn't have called, like, before 2.1, I would not have called her dash a weakness. Now it probably is overall, because it's slower, right? It's slower, like, she doesn't get as, she doesn't speed up, like, her max speed is significantly slower than it used to be. It feels that way anyway. Maybe I'm making that up, but this is not the freight train that it used to be. And also, she can't dash block until, like, 26 frames in, right? As a Versusia player, I'm pretty confident they made her better this patch. They toned down her annoying stuff, but she's still better overall. I'll tell you, fighting Versusias, it doesn't feel like that at all. No. She's still very good. We'll talk about this at the end of the Master Run, I guess. But, like, no. M-Pillar is not as good as H-Pillar. The Pillar changes are a nerf in everything except zoning matchups, right? The Pillar changes are a nerf. 5L is a gigantic nerf. Her corner carry is not nerfed, but her damage off her corner combo, off her dog walk combo is, like, 2k lower. Right? The Anitya changes are a nerf. Right? Like, she got almost nothing is better. The only thing that's a buff is like the fact that she can do this, right? Her consistency is much better though. She was one of the most. Her consistency is good, and it always was, right? I mean, yes, in the sense that, you know, once she used H-Pillar, she was in more trouble last patch. But again, they only made her better, I think, in zoning matchups. She's better against, like, Matera and, like, Galleon and Vikala or something. But I think she's worse literally everywhere else, right? I don't think so. I'll play her. I'll play her through the Master Run right now. We'll talk, but no. I will be very, very surprised if I come out of this thinking that Versusia is better. It's funny she took all those nerfs. She's still crazy good. M-Pillar might be a trade for different matchups. M-Pillar is better for zoners. It's worse everywhere else, right? I disagree, but I can see your point. This is reactable. Right, M-Pillar is, like, then there's no mental stack out here, too, right? There's no mental stack here. So, like, you know, unless you catch someone throwing a fireball, this is not H-Pillar, and this does not even dare to stand in the same spot that H-Pillar once stood. The difference between 18 frames and 25 is stratospheric, right? This is basically unreactable. From, like, range, this is reactable every single time, right? And yeah, I mean, again, you could honestly, with Matera, you only needed to hold one H-Pillar correctly. It absolutely did not stand the same standing that H-Pillar did. Yeah, again, no, I agree. She probably, the tracking on M isn't as good either. H-Pillar used to beat most anything round start into 5U charge. Right. Now, again, she's better if she's fighting Matera. Probably. Like, I don't buy it. I don't disagree with that at all, right? But Matera is one of 35 characters. A meta-relevant character, certainly, right? But she's worse into Catalina, right? She's worse into Grimnir. She's worse into everyone who isn't. Like, she's worse into every other meta-relevant character. She's worse into every character that isn't a zoner. basically. The Terra is still ass, actually. Yeah, but it should be better, right? It should be better than it was. Worse into Bubs now? Maybe Bubs does a little bit more zoning these days. So honestly, maybe that, you know, this helps her because she doesn't have to go through it, right? But yeah, like, I really don't think that... I think Versusia was so insanely good that she got nerfed pretty decently, and she's still insanely good. But we'll see. Maybe I'll agree with you by the end, Azra. Let's actually go back to playing some Versusia here.